All right, good morning and happy Monday. We are live talking about the haze in the sky, the heat that's building in across the region for the next several days. It is the first week of June and it's going to feel a lot like June later on this week. Most days climbing well above normal. That's number one. Number two, the humidity will present a problem and that'll produce heat index values upwards of 103 to 110 depending on where you're watching across the area. San Antonio probably on the range of 105 to 108. For the next several days as humidity, heat, all that coming into play for the weather forecast. So outside it's cloudy. The clouds will take a little bit to break apart, probably around the 1 and 2 o'clock hour. We'll see more sunshine break through the clouds. And right now, temperatures are reading in the 80s, so it's going to be a pretty warm day already, jumping into the 90s for some areas west of San Antonio. Okay, let's talk about the average. So June 3rd. June began earlier this weekend, and so June 1st was officially on Saturday, right? So yeah, earlier this weekend, June began officially, and this time of year, it really starts to jump up in temperature. Climatologically, historically, the hottest month of the year is August, but June is one of those hot months where we start to transition into the summer months. Average high by the end of the month is around 93, average low is around 74. Historically, about 3.28 inches of rain. And here's a good range. The coldest and hottest temperature ever picked up in San Antonio, ever on record from the 1880s. We have data that goes back that far. I believe back in the 1980s, we hit 48 degrees on a day in June for a low temperature. And then the hottest temperature ever picked up in San Antonio in the month of June, 108, which I believe was back in 1919. Over 100 years ago. Okay, 88 in the city, already jumping into the 90s for some areas around Bexar County. It's really hot out there. 84 at Bandera, 90 at Lackland, 86 at Moore, 81 at Rock Springs. That's the cool spot right now. 88 in Floresville, 93 at George West, and similar numbers across our southern counties. Okay, so today's timeline, 96 to 97. There will be a few areas that glimpse about 98 to 99 today. It's going to be warm, bottom line. It will be breezy at times. We have a southeast component to our winds. That'll be moving around 15 miles an hour at times. It's not going to be windy, unfortunately. We could really use the wind because of the heat that's really moving in. But middle to upper 90s waiting for us for the rest of your Monday. So get ready for another hot one. And on satellite, you can kind of see the cumulus field on visible satellite. More clouds breaking apart east of San Antonio towards Cuero, Gonzales, down I-10 towards Houston. More of a thicker cloud deck out west. You can kind of see the different layers of clouds if you look closely. To the south, you can see southeast winds kind of drawing in moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. That's leading to those cumulus clouds at the lower levels, but also in the higher levels, more to high level moisture moving in from the west from Del Rio to San Antonio. So it's really cloudy anywhere from western San Antonio to Del Rio, Eagle Pass. None of this is producing any rain, unfortunately. You have to go farther north than OKC, parts of North Texas, where I think they'll be under the threat for some severe weather, probably about 2, 3 o'clock today because of that long line of storms that's stretching from Tulsa, Oklahoma City, all the way down to Wichita Falls, which will impact North Texas and the Red River later on today. For our forecast, it'll be quiet, sunny, highs in the middle to upper 90s. It's going to be a warm and toasty day, very humid as well, a little breeze here and there. For Del Rio and Eagle Pass, we'll have to watch for the potential at a couple of isolated cells moving in your direction later on tonight. This model is very aggressive on what actually happens. Some other models really not depicting that much activity, but basically between Del Rio, Uvalde, all the way down to Laredo and Cotulla, there will be a chance for a couple of isolated storms later on tonight. Most of it fizzle out by the time it makes it to anywhere near I-37 or I-35. Tomorrow morning, cloudy skies, a little bit of fog, and a little bit of maybe a few sprinkles. That's about it. But our forecast will be completely driven by this high pressure dome. It looks like it forms between Wednesday and Thursday, but watch what happens. It really starts to amplify Thursday and Friday, which may lead to a hot weekend, upper 90s, lower 100s. And then when you tag on that dew point of like lower to middle 70s, it's going to be so tropical outside. The air is going to be steamy and the heat index will probably be on the range of like 105 to 110 to 115 across the area between here, the Texas coast towards Cotulla, between here and Seguin. I mean, it's going to be a very humid and hot forecast because of this dome of high pressure that'll set up shop in West Texas and New Mexico and across Mexico as well. Now, we do have small chances for rain if it were to happen. Just like on that forecast model you saw, mainly in the late evening, late nights to early mornings while you're asleep. In the overnights, best chance at seeing at least some isolated activity, an isolated shower, or an isolated storm. Even with that rain chance in the overnights, it's still not mustering up what we need to catch up. I mean, we're doing okay because of spring rainfall in March, April, and May, but we could certainly use a lot more. Right now, the forecast is calling for about 1/10 of an inch, maybe less, maybe around 0 for some communities between here, Del Rio, Victoria, Austin, and Houston. This pattern just doesn't lend itself to much rain and much lift in the atmosphere. And as a matter of fact, it leads to the opposite. No lift and more sinking air because high pressure pushes down on the atmosphere and just creates a lot of heat and a cap of warm air on the atmosphere. It's really hard to create rain. Okay, your 7-day forecast, 98 today, 99 to 100 tomorrow and Wednesday. Of course, the heat index will soar well above the air temperature because of the humidity off that southeast wind. Probably around 109 on Wednesday, 104 to 106 Friday and Saturday. That may prompt a couple of heat advisories and heat warnings on Tuesday and Wednesday. Something to watch out for if you're spending a long amount of time outside later on this week. But it looks like the main days of the thing is all 7 days will be extremely hot. There's no doubt about that. But if we're just differentiating day by day, it looks like Tuesday, Wednesday, and this upcoming Sunday will be the hottest in the forecast in the 7-day. But with that being said, each day is ranging from 99 to 100 degrees, bottom line, and the heat index 105 to 110. So this entire forecast, this entire timeline through the early part of June remains very hot, dangerously hot. Again, Tuesday and Wednesday may feature a couple of heat advisories being issued. We already have some heat advisories south of San Antonio today. We're just not at that level just yet, but tomorrow and Wednesday, and even probably Thursday and Friday, there's a good chance, depending on that strength and location of that ridge of high pressure, that may lead to another round of heat advisories and maybe excessive heat warnings in the forecast. So we'll have to watch that very closely. No matter what, 98 to 99 to 100, that's dangerous heat, way above average. Normal is 91 this time of year, and the fact that we're hitting 99 to 100 most days this week, that is going to be pretty hot, hotter than average, and very dangerous, especially if you're spending a long amount of time outside. Check on your neighbors, check on your friends, your family, drink plenty of water, find shade when you can. All those things will help you get through this heat, and the fact that summer hasn't officially started yet is concerning. So again, 7-day forecast shows 90s and near 100 most days this week. Have a wonderful Monday, and we'll see you later. Tune in to KENS 5 News at noon for the latest on the forecast and the news and sports around San Antonio.